22-year-old Jordan Graham is admitted to pushing her new husband, Cody Johnson, to his death off a cliff. But she's not behind bars. She's sitting in her parents' home under house arrest after a judge released her on her own recognizance. KCFW reporter Rebecca Vogt joins us with the latest. Rebecca, you've been camped outside her home. Has Jordan gone out at all?
No, you know, it's interesting. We have stayed outside of her home, Judge, especially last week when she was released from custody and into her parents' custody, and we waited for them to get home. It's their house right outside of Kalispell, and it was interesting. You know, we first saw a one-car pull in, and it looks like at that time that was not her car. It was a gentleman got out, and it appeared he was doing a lot of things to sort of secure the home. What we noticed was that he put up white pieces of paper near the garage windows and also near the front door windows. And then the next day when we came back, we also noticed a lot of no trespassing signs. So I think they're making sure that she does not get seen, you know, or is seen inside of her house. And I know that she is a part of her monitoring is that she is allowed out for certain things like church and medical visits and whatnot. But we have not seen any motion from the house at this time.
All right. Now, you've been to the cliffs. What are they like?
Right. So the cliffs, it's a section of Glacier National Park known as the Loop, and you drive up there. It's in the alpine section of the park, so you are very high up in elevation. And you get out, you park your car. It's a very popular area to hike in, the Loop Trail specifically. And I started walking on that trail myself, and it's a very narrow path. And you look down to one side, and it's pretty much a sheer drop down. And I even tried looking over myself, and it's impossible to see the ground. It's a very treacherous sort of area, and you don't really want to, you know, be near the edge at all. And you want to kind of stick to the path, and probably the path that's, you know, not near the edge of the cliff.
And Rebecca, I hear that there are some webcam, cameras there in the park.
Yes, Judge, there are webcams that are in the park, but they're pointed at certain popular locations in the park, views of the lake, their headquarters, and from what we have discovered, there are no webcams up in that area, up in the Loop area.
All right, Rebecca, thanks so much. And with me now, former prosecutors Richard Portale and Steve Razor, and now both defense attorneys. And now, Richard, a lot of people are wondering why this woman is not in jail on a second-degree murder charge. Should she be in jail?
Absolutely not. The Bail Reform Act is there for a reason, and there are certain standards. The government let her wander about freely in the community for 2 months after she confessed, and they had no new evidence when the government made their motion.
But she didn't confess to murder. She said basically that, you know, he pushed her and then she pushed him, but I want to get into that. But the woman's charged with murder. She should be home.
Well, she has a presumption of innocence, doesn't she? So,
didn't you work for me?
Judge, there are standards, right, and there are elements, and the government has to show that she's either a threat to the community or that, you know, so they couldn't prove either of the two elements. By leaving her in the community for 2 months, they showed that they couldn't prove it.
Steve?
I agree, and she's obviously not a flight risk. She's already proven that, and apparently the judge who set her out on ROR at this sort of home arrest with electronic monitoring was proven correctly because there have not been any problems. She's been there, and she's not a flight risk.
Let me ask you this. The woman apparently only puts up pictures of her husband. She's married 8 days after he dies on her Facebook. What does that tell you? You're smirking, poor
Well, how
Sally.
could you not smirk? It's pretty self-serving. I mean, it's pretty obvious what she's doing. It's patent, right?
Well, I mean, it could be, but it could also be the fact that, you know, her husband just died, and it does take a little while before those pictures get uploaded. I mean, let's face it. I mean, even in this day and age, it's going to take a little bit of time before you get the wedding photos.
I could upload a picture right now from my phone.
Yeah, right now.
Before we went to the break, it would be on.
Is that what you did after you got married? I don't think so.
I've never killed anyone.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Not yet.
Very
Not
good.
that we
No,
know
never,
of.
never,
Okay,
never.
all right.
But here's the thing. How is the prosecution going to prove this case? She says he pushed her, and he's not here to tell us.
That's right.
What do you think?
Well, there's a trap statement. There's some conduct that she sent a text message, and that text message to her maid of honor just before she killed him said, "If you don't hear from me again tonight, something happened." So I found the government here. I'm going to call the defense out. I'm going to call Steve out. And I'm going to say, you need to address that because she knew she was going to do it. How do you defend it? And he has to address it at that
I'll tell you how a defense attorney. How do you defend that?
Well, it's simple. I mean, it's a text that's sent her. It certainly doesn't prove that she intended to kill him. It doesn't show that at all. It could be taken a lot of different ways. And by the way, we just talked about the presumption of innocence. It applies to that text, too.
But you know what I would say if I'm a defense attorney? What I'm going to say is she was a battered woman. And she said, if I don't come back, you know, that she was worried about him coming after her. That almost adds to her defense.
I hate to say this, but if she claims that, then she knew exactly, then she knew that he had a propensity to do something like that. She shouldn't have been on the edge of a cliff with him because there's an element under federal law in terms of self-defense. If she negligently or recklessly put herself there, it takes her out of that self-defense claim. So if she tries to say there's a history of abuse, it's not going to fly. She's going to shoot herself in the foot by doing that.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. There is no self-defense claim. I have to say that as well. Just based on the facts. Remember, this whole case comes down to her statements. And in her statements, she indicates that he went to grab her. She moved away. He turned around. She knew she could walk away, chose not to, and pushed him in the back.
Agreed.
There is no self-defense argument. Where the defense has to go with this case is a manslaughter argument. That's the road they will take. That's the only road they can take.
Okay, and here's an additional problem. The inconsistent statements, how do you reconcile them?
It's simple. I mean, you reconcile them simply by saying she was lying. Why? Because she was afraid, because she knew she did something wrong. She just killed her husband. That does not defeat a manslaughter charge.
I'm not sure it's that easy because she lied, then she lied about the lie, and then we'd have to then believe that confession was a lie. So it'd be like lies on lies on lies, and it's just too much for her.
Yeah, and now she's missing him on Facebook. So during the lies, she wasn't missing him on Facebook.
I don't think that's going to be the damning evidence.
Oh, you never know in a case this close. The littlest things can make a difference.
Circumstantial evidence can carry a lot of weight, Steve. You know that.
Absolutely, it can. But really, all that you're doing is taking these situations where she's posting on Facebook and trying to give them negative connotations, as you did with the text message as well. And you simply can't do that because, as a prosecutor, the burden will be on you, not on her.
You know what, guys? I think it's going to come down to good lawyering, and you're both good lawyers. Richard, Steve,
thank you,
thanks.